I'm not surprised. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Black Lightning, the JFK thing. I know we're changing gears on y'all guys, but we're probably going to come back to what we were talking about again. But if you're familiar with that, Black Light, the JFK craziness.
What is something new that came out? What?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. They know the people that were possibly involved with him being assassinated. Who you think? I just spoke about him just 2 seconds ago.
Said they know about the people that was involved.
Mm-hmm.
Or what it was like who was that? That was Lee, what was that? Lee Harvey
Lee Harvey
Oswald?
Oswald. Yeah, they think that so it's speculative that it might have been uh, a conglomeration of folks run by the synagogue of Satan.
Well, I've been thought that. I thought that I remember what I heard is that like basically he was working, it might have been to it was something with the US dollar or something he was about to do. I remember he was about to do something that the government, that the powers to be didn't like. And
A
I
bunch of
like
things.
they got him killed. And like the whole Oswald thing was like a smoke screen.
So there were a few things that made him a big time target. One of those was he didn't want the synagogue of Satan, that country that's out there in the Eastern Med that a lot of people don't agree with, and they're actually genociding the people in Gaza Strip. Those people, he didn't want them having a nuclear reactor in Dimona. So it's out there in Eastern Europe. Um, ain't Rael. Let's call him Ain't Rael, right? So that country ain't Rael. They have a nuclear reactor. I don't know if it's still active, but it's out there in Dimona. And actually, your black Hebrews or your black Israelites, they live in Dimona right now. And so those people they've been trying to get rid of. The fake ones have been trying to get rid of the black ones in that region, in that part of the country. And so what has happened is a lot of racism. There's a lot of turmoil, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm kind of getting off topic, but just to kind of paint a picture for you, why I'm a little bit annoyed. But but those guys in the synagogue of Satan, they were involved with him getting killed, being assassinated. Yeah,
I mean, I believe it. I mean, I'm not
yeah.
I hadn't heard damn that for like
So
every conspiracy out there over the years, and I'm a lot of them I lean into. Like I remember I heard something about JFK over the years. I couldn't remember exactly what it was that I heard that he was about to do, but I just remember hearing that it was something that the powers that be didn't want happening. That's why they blew his brains out as an example to
Mm.
everybody else, like in front of all of those people like that.
Yep, yep. And what sucks is that what sucks is that um he's an example. Like they use that as the foundation or the standard of what would happen if you don't play ball with these people. And people get scared. They're like, oh, because think about it. That looks painful, right? Even though your life just disappears like that, probably. But they're like, I don't want to have that happen to me and everything else like that. Like, and just the sight of that happening.
Was
Huh?
that being broadcast like live on TV at the time?
When he got shot like that,
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm
that
mistaken
film that you see is the Zapruder film, the one that everybody sees. And there's speculation on him being part of the synagogue of Satan, being
but
part
that
of
was
that
like
whole thing.
because that was a parade. They weren't like filming that like for TV at the time.
They were filming. I'm not sure.
Okay, I was just wondering. I didn't know if that was. I just feel like just speaking to that, like setting an example or sending a message to everybody that
Right.
happened on TV. I was just thinking about like how
So the Zapruder film, I think it was a few years after that happened that he gave that to them. I think it was something like along those lines, where he gave the people the Zapruder film. But Zapruder himself was involved with the synagogue of Satan specifically. Okay, he was involved with them folks. He was part of that nonsense, and his thing was there. He was there to document it, kind of like the dancing people on that van during 9/11. I'm sure you heard of them. The people dancing on top of that van, and they were sitting there filming the footage. They were sitting there filming the towers go down, and as the towers were coming down, they were dancing. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard of that. I missed out.
Yeah. The dancing, you know who. Ain't Raffael.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah. Everybody knows about them. The dancing, you know who. Part of the synagogue of Satan, man. Them dudes is always there when some shit be going down. And so, what's her name? Candace Owens did a special on it just the other day. It's like an hour long, where she goes into detail on it. And Candace Owens spits it, and it's wild. And she's like, I know it. And it's like, damn. Like it's like she's vindicated. Which I think a lot of people felt that the synagogue of Satan was behind JFK being assassinated. You know what I'm saying? And so after JFK got assassinated, after he had his head blown off, there were all these things. The Russians did it, the Cubans did it, the mafia, the Italians did it. Lee Harvey Oswald did it, and blah blah blah, this, that, the third. His driver did it. There was a lot of people saying that all these different people did it. It was the synagogue of Satan. They were behind him getting killed because he also didn't want AIPAC being able to run roughshod in the lobby, in these different foreign lobbies. He didn't want that. He wanted them to basically register like every other foreign nation. They didn't want that. And so this is why Israel, or rather the synagogue of Satan, my bad. This is why the synagogue of Satan, or the Z people, the Zionists, right? They have things done a certain way. They want things their way and no other way. There's no compromise with them. There isn't any. This is why people like Donald, and they have the government by the balls. People to the tune of Alan Dulles. You don't know who he was? I think he was the director of the CIA. Alan Dulles. This dude, his family and him, they had ties with the Nazis. He didn't want shit like that getting out. His sister, who was married to a Jewish dude, who knew that Alan Dulles and them were involved with the Nazis, funding the Nazis. His sister was married to a Jewish dude. The Jewish dude that his sister was married to killed himself because of the knowledge of knowing that he was married to a bunch of Nazis and Nazi sympathizers. He killed himself. And so his sister, I think her name was Ann Dulles. Her duty then was to basically bring down her brothers for fucking up her life and for having her lose her husband, right? And so she was trying to get all this information out there, and then some shit happened. And then she knew that it was them that funded the fucking Nazi stuff, man. And so we're so closely tied. This is why you got all this Operation Paperclip and all that. And like ultimately, when you become a flat earther, like understanding these things is easy. You can see the connections. You can see the connections of Operation Paperclip. You can see why it's why you see all these top scientists are part of the synagogue of Satan, and they're pushing for us to see the earth as being a ball flying out in space. Because if we understand what the truth is of this earth being flat, it brings us back to these other things, which of course will be like, okay, that makes sense. And then we'll see the synagogue of Satan for who they truly are. And once you see them for who they truly are, you can't unsee that. And then when you see those that are part of the synagogue of Satan, when you see them for being liars and scoundrels and thieves and all the other bad things that come with it, drinkers of blood, eaters of people, out there running Hollywood and knowing why manipulation and mental manipulation is such a big deal to them. It's so important to them that you become to detest all those people that want to get involved in that kind of lifestyle. You detest people that come from that. You hate them. And I don't blame people for hating people like that. Not at all. Because you hate something that's against life. And much of that is against life.
So may I add another layer to this?
Go ahead, brother.
So I'm not, how should I say, I'm not saying you're wrong, and it very much seems.
Sorry. I wanted
fine.
to I wanted to give you the floor. I apologize. Say
Finally,
that
I'm
again,
getting
please.
banned. No, it's good.
No.
So fundamentally, I'd agree with you. Basically, there's two groups, no matter how we call them. One of them, like you spoke about, they're very much of this world. Many of them are into transhumanism. They will readily lie or poison their fellow man, omit the truth, do all of that just for personal gain. Honestly, I wonder how these people can sleep or do anything at all. So I agree with you there 100%. However, it may be, and I'll just consider this for a moment, and that's actually why I brought it up.
Sure.
Over the past year, I'd say we've become familiar with the idea of false dichotomies, right?
Okay.
And actually, thank you, Maria Walker, for reposting Tommy Rogers' channel, because I know it through him. He's a viewer of one of my shows, and he's been pointing this out, or I stumbled across it on his channel. I posted it in a private chat, which is called, it's an investigation reading papers by Miles Mathis, who is maybe a contentious figure, but the point stands, which is the question about whether or not the whole JFK assassination thing may have been a staged event itself. We are familiar with staged events, just like the Trump got shot his ear off last year, as you well know, right?
Right.
What a miracle that he survived.
Huh.
And I'm not saying I know that one or the other thing is true. I'm not even in the US. What do I know? I have no idea. All I know is to always question all assumptions and to also ask ourselves why, if it is such a big conspiracy or whatever, and there may be all kinds of things going on there, I'm not even denying that, but still, why is it so popular? Why has it always been so popular? Even with the creation of the term conspiracy theory, branding those people, I almost want to say it's like if, let's say, in recent times, because it switches all the time, you would be brought up, you want to be a good individual, you're in high school, whatever, you would become a leftist naturally, or you'd become a communist, let's just say, right?
Okay.
Then you
right.
grow up, you learn, all right, okay, there's something to do with, actually providing value, or you don't want to take stuff away from other people for no reason. You become, let's say, a capitalist, but you also do charity or whatever, right? But could it be that there is a third door behind all of that, where both of those are just a false dichotomy or trying to lead you down a certain path? Same with the conspiracy route, because what if there is any credence to the idea that JFK, just like all the other people, just like Trump, who many people herald now as a hero, also was part of the power structure? Certain things he said were out of context, and actually people now for decades have been arguing over a staged event, and Trump was able to run on this. Think about it. For 8 years now, I'm going to release the files. Amazing. And what's there? There's nothing there. And what if even the basic thing is that the real power structure is somewhere else entirely? Because think of it, even back then, it would be insane. It would be insane to assume if you really have power, you put yourself on the front. And even I didn't think about it so much until I watched this series only a month ago. It's like 6 or 7 videos. Thank you, Maria Walker, for posting the link. I can just recommend everyone who's interested in this, check it out, because it looks to me that this could be very similar to the false dichotomy presented, by the TFE and all that Joker stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And just from what I've learned so far in terms of how conspiracies are structured and layered, just my spider sense tells me, before I get deeper into these conspiracies, which are very interesting, I first want to check the conspiracy of whether it could be that the whole thing itself is a stage setup.
Keep you from getting deeper in the hole.
Yeah, and keeping you into this idea that, oh, JFK was a good guy, he was so amazing. But if you check it out, even 70 years earlier, whatever, from what I understand, even the Kennedy family was heavily involved in drug running and all kinds of stuff, just like the Bushes, just like the others. Well, they say it's alcohol, but could it not be, let's just say, some stronger drugs, actually, which is the circumstantial information I got. Of course, I'm also only going off what I find on the internet, or people send me that are researching this more deeply. But basically, how likely is it really that this guy was the herald of the people, or could it just have been a ritual sacrifice? But even the sacrifice is just a stage play, and the guy just, went underground or whatever else because he's just part of the political actor class, which are just giving you a good show, like on a, how do you call it, WFE, match, the wrestling thing.
WWF. I got
That, right? You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, it always depends what people are emotionally attached to or not. And again, I'm not claiming it is this or it is that, but all I know is we always have to question the basic assumptions, because if we already accept the premise, of course he was killed, then we can argue for 100 years about who it was, why it was, and all these power structures you mentioned, they do exist, of course.
Right.
But
Right.
what if that is a point? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh, and then we're kind of like the globe Earth. We're sitting up there looking up and out at things that there is no up and out. Oh, Jesus Christ. Are you serious?
I just got the tingles when you were reacting like that. I don't know if it's true, but I know this has to be investigated first. And all I can tell you, and this is just very low-level circumstantial evidence, there is a channel called Dark Journalist. He does some interesting stuff about secret societies, UFO files, this and that. He talked a lot about the JFK thing for years and years. I listened to him a few years back, now not so much anymore. Then I came across this and I went on his channel. He's got a big channel, like 1,000 views. He doesn't like to, 1,000 live viewers, I mean. He doesn't like to talk about his background from before 2013. And then only later I found there's only 1-2 videos fact-checking his stuff. And it seems he's not the, how should I say, most exact journalist in that sense. So anyhow, what I did, because again, they were talking about JFK, I was like, all right, I'm going to spend $5 on this. And I'm just going to point out, please, or whatever I just said, have you heard about the research by Miles Mathis about this and this Hidden Kings article series? And guess what? There was plenty of time before and after my question in terms of super chats. There was 1.5 hours remaining in the show. The moderator acknowledged my donation. Oh, thank you so much. Has a very nice voice in the back, female, who is reading these things and so on. And the only thing then ever related to that was at some point he said, yeah, some people saying there was some kind of a double that's unsubstantiated or whatever. But what I can say for sure, even though, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but still, I spent some money on this and I got thanked for it. But do you think they read my question? Of course not. But they're going on for 8 years about this topic. And when I'm like, it's fine and you can dismiss it, that's all good. Right. But I cannot honestly and with integrity do certain research and then not put these fundamental assumptions under scrutiny. Or at least also mention, oh, by the way, if it is a stage thing, this should also be investigated. But of course, if I were to do that, then I cannot go on for 10 more years discussing who it was and exploring all these structures, which again may well exist. But then it's taken away, don't make me say it, my grift, and then I would actually try to get closer to the thing. And it's just a problem so many times with so many bigger channels or whatever, that they love to omit things, they love to gatekeep, because then they keep talking about nothing. They're not going to hurt anybody. Right. People are still going to think they're the hero of the people and they're moving forward the conversation. Yes. But actually nothing is happening. It is perfectly safe for them to do so.
And nobody's going to come to justice. There is no, wow. Now, damn. So then, geez. You know what's funny is that in JFK's casket, JFK wasn't in there. They admit that. They said that was a wax double. They said that wasn't even him. They said that was a wax person, a wax, like out of a wax museum. That was a wax.
Madame Tussauds.
Yeah, right. Like a Madame Tussauds fucking birthday candle in there. So then, oh boy. So then him getting, wait a minute, but okay. All right. Let's say that. Let's say he didn't get killed. Let's say he didn't get killed. And I think it's all one person, right? It's all about a person. We still have a movement behind it, but what does it do to a country? I think.
Oh yeah, trauma.
It's a trauma. It's here's the thing. Like I don't know how old you are, Raf, but I'm 46 years old. Do you know
I'm about 10 years less than you.
okay. So I never witnessed JFK get murdered like that in person. I've seen
Well,
my
me
own
neither.
fair share of
I also
stuff.
didn't see the moon landings live on TV. So.
Right. But for those that were there, can you imagine what that could do to a person? Or for those that were sitting there watching TV, or for those that might have been, you know what I'm saying? For those that might have been like, oh, I remember, like people, the thing is, it's such a new experience. People remember, like, we'll never forget it. They're like, I remember what it smelled like. I was at the market, and then
makes you think of 9/11. You're familiar with Brian Stavely, right?
Dude, yes.
How many planes? 100 planes? Sorry, I don't want to joke about it, but you know what I mean. Brian Stavely, Dose of Reality was his channel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll just say there is a. Have you heard about the so-called no plane theory?
No planes flying into anything?
Well, I'm not sure about any. Well, maybe then could be rockets or something else and explosions and all of that.
Like I thought that for myself. I didn't know they called it a theory, but I was like, we might have had something detonated the building. It might have been a missile that hit it. And
I
definitely
recently found this was actually out since 2014. This idea. I know Brian Stavely brought it up bigger a few years ago, and I watched some of his things. Really well done. I'm not sure if all of his stuff is still up. You're familiar with Brian Stavely, right? Dose of Reality?
No.
No? Okay.
I'll go ahead. Brian Stavely?
Yes, Dose of Reality. No plane theory. Because again, I'm just pointing it out because also here then you have people discussing about 100 million things about it, but never considering this. And what Brian Stavely at least then said as well, it doesn't matter. You don't even need to do so much. What you need to inflict is heavy emotional trauma. And of course, the whole fallout for 100 million debates and journalists and whatever else, it's a media circus.
Yep.
And because I've been doing so many interviews with David Ewing Jr. Regarding the history, and he's also always repeating this idea that so many of these people we see, they are merely actors, and the real power structure, of course, is hidden. And from a social science perspective or power structure perspective, it makes sense. Would you ever show your face if you really have anything to say in this world? You would be insane to do that. You know what I mean? You would have your stooges, you have 100 proxies in front, call them Gates, call them Zuck, call them Schwab, call them, no matter on which side even, call them Trump, right?
So then, wow. So yeah, I mean, I think the latest is Trump's ear getting shot off. That's the latest.
Yeah. I mean, we're hip to that. And of course, it's always different for everyone what they feel more attached to or where they more want to believe something. But why would you give any of those media any leeway by how much we know? And you lined it out perfectly with the recent lockdown stuff and all the jokes. You think it was different 50 years ago?
Oh, it's the same thing.
How likely is it? So would they give you anything that really leads you anywhere? Or would they put up 100 million mazes with nice cheese, you know, to follow down everywhere? You get confused. You fight with the other rats in the sewer and everything.
Oh my God. And we're lost, and we don't even know it. And we all think we're right. We're just lost. Like lost. Jesus fucking Christ. So then, like, I don't even know what to think.
I also don't know, and I don't want to tell you what to think. I just want to say this is important to check out because from everything I've known through all the research I've done and the few trusted individuals I know, that I get information from, like I said, it seems as they say, all the world is a stage. It sounds tacky and cheap, but it just makes sense, because if you really have power, of course, you're going to construct all of these intricacies and so on to make sure people stay occupied. Yeah. And they don't really try to attain sovereignty. They don't really try to help themselves and their family. They cannot really get together as a community, however you want to put it. It's both an individual and a communal thing, right? Of course.
Right.
But none of that is going to happen as long as you can argue over these things, or then idolize this person, idolize that person, hope they're going to change. They just didn't manage because there was some other thing that happened, right? And they're going to keep playing that game as long as people allow themselves to be distracted like that. Yeah, it wasn't my plan to make you speechless, but I've thought like I'd bring it up because it fits with this whole false dichotomy thing we've learned more about with the whole TFE stuff, and how they keep you in a hamster wheel, even, conspiratorially, let's say hamster wheel even. Yep. And yeah, just like I pointed out with this dog journalist thing, I only recently tried to fact check him or whatever else, and only found very little information. But there you can see again, they're not really willing to do the thing. I learned this through systems theory. I mean, I don't really think I learned it here, because I'm always wondering whether, your personality and the way you are is really shaped by what you work and what you learn, or whether it's actually that you're already born with something for whatever reason it is. And the things you do and learn, they only allow you to reveal that to yourself, right? And what they say in basic systems theory college courses, I didn't do so much college, but very tiny did. The very first thing they say, you can have a system, power structures, feedback loops. You're probably familiar with these things from engineering, right? Input, output, positive, negative reinforcement, all of that. That's all fine and wonderful. But what they say there, which is very correct, is if your underlying assumptions are wrong, you can throw your whole system in the trash. And it's important to construct these systems and go into detail and all of that. But it's supremely important to be aware of your underlying assumptions and make sure you know what you're basing everything on. Just like with the globe debates or whatever, what are the underlying assumptions?
Yes, right.
When they're being kept out, then you're floating in space again, right?
Yes, and that's the thing. Fuck. Shit. Yeah, man. God damn it. And this is the thing, is I automatically just took for granted, and I should know better. Fucking. I'm not saying that he didn't get his head blown off, but what's the alternative to him getting his head blown off? Him pretending, or or something like that.
Well, the idea is, and I can only briefly outline this, so the article series is called The Hidden Kings, and it goes along the idea that there is a certain, political actor class. They may have some degree of real importance in the power structure or not, but basically that this was, I would even say, just the most recent variant of, how would you say that, moving the real power structure behind the scenes. And also from what I've learned with my interviews with David Hume Jr., there's a recent, I think quite good, only 30-minute preview video, but it gives the gist of it, about the foundation of America. And that even only in the beginning of the 20th century, for example, you had these huge Shriner parades, which basically are, how would you say?
They're like the Freemasons or some shit. The Shriners got them hats with the little tinsels on them and shit. Like the water buffaloes from the Flintstones.
Exactly. They have also more, I guess they were modernized, but the thing is, back then they had huge parades, huge, and they were all over the Oval Office. And then a few decades later, when the TV came out, this is how it was explained to me, this whole influence was completely moved into the back. But how it relates to what you just said, and again, this is just a very shorthand, fundamental understanding I have, very rudimentary, that there actually is in the back some kind of a position between, for lack of a better term, and I'm just using these words now, with, how do you call it, with prejudice or whatever, or with caution, between Shia and Sunni. And what this means is or even Zionism, if we're allowed to say that word, but I think by now we're allowed to.
Yeah.
And those people that are opposed to that idea. And it seems that even back then, or even now potentially, this may be the actual background fight, again, between one group that wants to install all of the priests, wants to put you in a smart city, wants to chip you, wants to control you through that method. And another side that wants to actually distribute the knowledge. Or similarly, what you have with the Freemasons against, again, just as a word, the Sunni system, whereas within the Freemasons, you have everything behind closed doors. You know, you have to join, you have to pay, God knows what oaths you have to do if you really want to get into relevant position, all of that. Whereas in the Sunni system, and I'm not glorifying that either, but I'm just as a social idea, the mosque is open to everyone. Everyone should learn. Everyone, what's in the Quran, you know, wash yourself. I'm not a Muslim or whatever, but, you know, wash yourself, this and that, yeah? Get basic understanding of what is to be cultured, whatever that means, right? So you have one group, again, that tries to gatekeep all of that and confuse you and only put it behind closed doors. And even then they confuse you, as even in the books of Albert Pike, they admit, who may be an actor as well. And then the other side, it's a completely open system. Anyone can join. It's open. There is no fees. Yeah, so it does relate to what you laid out earlier as well, and to a certain extent, that you do have these two power groups, and they seem to be fighting in the back. And in the front, all we see is the world stage. They set up different countries. They set up different systems. But in the back end, it may even be that those power groups, from what I understand now, are related, which is why they don't directly just, you know, chop each other's head off or anything like that. But they play on the world stage, and it's almost, what it reminded me of is almost like they say in the Bible, which in my understanding is just a medieval history book, just like the Quran. But like they say, the game between God and Lucifer, you know? So they're not like directly fighting against each other, but they're kind of like saying to the other, well, try it, see what you can do, see how many souls you can catch on your side and brainwash into your system or convince of your system.
With this
and I'm going to do the same with my system. And we're not directly going to fight each other, but we're just going to play on the world stage because we're here longer than others, or we have more knowledge, we have more technology than the population at large. So in the back end, this is what we're scheming. And in the front end, you just see all the fallout and all the craziness and all the strange things happening because of this back end fight of the elite. This is my current rudimentary understanding of what may be going on. But it would explain a lot because the world stage definitely makes no sense, as we've all figured out, right?
Well, what the fuck? So how did you feel stumbling upon this?
Well, so first, I came across this information thanks to Tommy Rogers, who's a viewer on one of my shows. And what I always love to do is if anyone is subscribing or anything to my channel, I always like to check out their stuff, you know, see, do they have anything there, anything interesting?
Right.
And then I saw these videos, you know, saying just JFK Hidden Kings. And I was like, oh, I never heard that before. But my spider sense just immediately told me, there's something there. There's something there. And, you know, you can trust your gut or not, or your intellect or whatever. I try to trust my intuition as much as possible while still keeping my head on straight, right?
Right.
But my basic idea was there's probably something there. Then I listened to these 6 or 7 hours in total where they're just reading through these articles, showing the inconsistencies, like you said, with the body, even just questioning the basic thing of, is it really realistic that the whole security detail and secret service and military operation would go so haywire? Just like with, again, just like with Trump. And here we know it more, right?
Right,
Why
right.
would it be different? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we know they control all the media back then even more easily because who's allowed to own a printing press, you know?
Yes.
So you can construct anything. Yeah. So anyways, I'm glad I could give you something interesting.
Damn, this shit pisses me off, man. Jesus. Oh boy. Oh boy. So, this is one of those tangled webs. Huh. So
I'm happy to stay on that topic if you want, or whatever you want to do. Also, I can leave anytime. Otherwise, if you want some comedic relief, I posted a more fun video in the back chat also, where it says there are still people who haven't seen a globe before. I'm not sure if you've seen this before. It's just an interesting thing because it's like village elders or village people from Pakistan being shown a globe for the first time. And it's something fun to look at, but we can, I'm up for whatever you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, let's go for a non-commercial break. PP time for PP folks, so they don't PP on themselves. It's people who haven't seen a globe. I haven't seen this before. Okay, so we're gonna play that for y'all, family. People that have not seen a globe. I think this is a good break for things as I collect my thoughts and wonder what next to say, because I'm at a loss for words right now. Not gonna lie. Hey, you don't know everything, right? We can't know everything. This I didn't know. Like this is a little different to me.
Again, I'm not saying I know anything about it, but from everything I've learned so far, my heuristics would say there's something there. When I listen to the evidence, it seemed reasonable enough. And then trying to confront somebody with it who has a big channel, who should know a lot, and they don't even want to read my question or whatever, yeah, what to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the video, my bad. God damn it. Huh. Oh my God, yo. Like, what do you ay. You know what? I think it was a good thing that Trump pretended to get his ear shot off. And then he came up. I think it's a good thing because this is easier to swallow with that happening. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, God knows. I mean, it's always difficult to know, especially with Trump, because he's got, the Jesuit symbolism all over. I don't trust him one bit. But God knows this may even have been more disclosure than whatever JFK papers they released for anybody with critical thinking skills, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what is possible, what is being played on the populars, aside, of course, from the lockdowns, which those who know, or even, whatever happened in 2001 and all of that. But that was like a recent thing. And yeah, the best conspiracy, which I heard about that, by the way, was, oh, no, don't worry. Trump, managed to move his ear because he's one of the first people who already got Neuralink installed. So he had like super reflexes, right? And that's, no, I'm joking, of course, but.
Oh God. That's why he wanted to buy a Tesla. He wanted to buy a Tesla because he loves them and he's already hooked into the matrix already with his brain. Is his freaking wire mesh brain now. Motherfuckers. Dude, okay, so the flat earth, that's one thing, but the people involved, if that's true, could you think? So, okay, let's think about it. Let's think about this. Let's think about if that's true and we understand that JFK is a lie, that him getting assassinated is a lie.
You know what they say? If people need a hero, we will supply them a hero.
Right. So if that motherfucker didn't get shot, and then he's part of it. If he didn't get shot, assuming he didn't, let's just entertain it. He's part of it. His family's part of it. I wonder if his son getting blown up in that plane, if that's a part of it too.
Well, it would only I don't know about the details about all of that, but it would only make sense because what you really need is just, like I said, political actor class that continually inflict trauma to keep the left-right thing going. Then you have a new hero who's slowly being built up, but strangely being supported by certain media outlets who are allowed to continue, right? And all of this. and then, you put him in the bag again, or whatever you need to do, because the real agenda, you need to progress the real agenda. And whether you then move a bit of left or right or pretend this or that, who cares? Because, no real benefit for the populace at large is going to happen if you don't want it. You just keep yanking the chain or whatever it is at the right moment.
Motherfuckers. Yeah. So then, motherfuckers. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, we've just been fooled, man. Like, goddamn. We get fooled at every fucking turn.
And by the way, I'm sorry, just remembering this right now, wasn't JFK the guy who said, and we're gonna go to the moon? I mean,
we're gonna go to the
you want to trust the guy? It's like Elon Musk.
And then you want to know what President Trump said? We're gonna go to Mars.
I'm sure.
Motherfucker. This is rinse and repeat. That's what it sounds like. It's fucking rinse and repeat.
Yeah. It honestly seems like they don't have more than 100 years of sleep, if even that much.
Oh boy. JFK happened in 63. That was like 62 years ago. No, 62. That was 62 years ago. 62 years ago, 1963.
Uh-huh.
So they just repeat. These motherfuckers. They're just running the same fucking play.
I mean, pretty much. And even here, I don't know if that is real history, but you know very well, right? With the whole lockdown stuff, they already had similar scares, officially at least, in 1912 or whatever. And they even have supposed newspapers from that back then, even on both sides, both like being, oh, it's the best thing ever, and also people warning about it and everything. Again, I don't know if that happened back then really, but it's, it's copy paste. Just actually, this reminds me again, just like with Professor Anatoly Fomenko, who showed the new chronology, and he went over the Western history and basically showed that it looks like much of the history that we are told about the past hundreds of years are just copy-paste operations, because you have like an 85% match between the names, and then it's just moved 100 years here or there to obfuscate the real history of humanity, which actually, if we were to understand it from the interviews that I'm doing, would actually lead us to become much closer to each other, because we would realize that a lot of the racism, national divides, and all of that are even religious, even with the Bible and the Quran and so many things. So many of those were just constructed and don't really relate to the population at large anyways, in the way that many people imagine themselves to be. Like people imagine, oh, I don't know, America has been, or even in Europe, they love to say this, Europe has been Judeo-Christian for hundreds of years and this and that, or America. But if you look closer, it doesn't really look like that. Yeah. And, definitions change over times, names change over times.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a trip, what can I say? But I think it's worth investigating, because my belief, at least, is to those few that are interested, the more we understand or try to understand about the real history and the real events, the more we realize there is nothing much that we should fight over amongst each other, right? And that there is much more we have in common, and reorient our focus to actually building individually and the communities, rather than being distracted by all of these things.
God damn. What if they tricked everybody? Like they really, God damn. Like at least, Jesus Christ.
Because also, if we understand that whatever we like to call them Jesuits, just as a placeholder or whoever else, they're able to construct hundreds of years of history that is faked up,
Right.
while you think they are not able to create hundreds of pages of supposed redacted CIA documents that are equally manufactured or made to fit and made to create varying opposing narratives. Same with the religions again, you know, with the Bible and all of that. You have 100 interpretations. People can fight over it their whole lives. Yeah.
Motherfucker. Jesus. So then, goddamn, with us being tricked like this, what's the fucking end game? Fucking. Jesus. All right. God damn it. Let's look at this Pakistani guy. These guys looking at this fucking globe. I need to breathe something. I need to think for a second. Let's look at these guys looking at the globe, or cats or something like that. Here we go. I'll be right back. Oh boy.
दोस्तों ਨੂੰ शेयर करो अपनी सेहत का ख्याल रखना अल्लाह ताला ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਸਿਹਤ ਤੰਦਰੁਸਤੀ ਦੇਵੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦਿਓ ਫਿਰ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਅੱਲਾਹ
Man, look, man, for all that shit people be talking about Muslim folks, Muslim people be all right with me, man. Always praising God. Always, I don't know if y'all could hear me or not. Well, let me get us back up on here. Always praising God, man. Just always looking to make sure everybody has a good health. You know what I'm saying? That's Muslim people. And me as a kid, those are the Muslim people that I knew, right? Those are the guys that I grew up with, right? They would God this, God that. May you be healthy. God, you know, God willing, right? Praise be to God. You understand? Of course, they'd say Allah. They wouldn't say God, but they always had good wishes for you in the name of God, right? Anything, God first. And whether you believe in God or not, it's always good to hear people that have a strong faith in Allah, right? Or, you know, in a God, or have a strong belief in something. Whether you believe in it or not, it's nice to see people that believe in something like that, and they want good wishes for you through that deity. You don't have to believe in it. And what's happening, Luke? It's good to see you. Godheart Guardian, good to see you as well. Maria Walker, I didn't say what's up to you, but it's always a pleasure to see you, Maria. Kima Garcia Lopez, what's going on, family? It's good to see you. Voy is in the house. Love seeing these guys, man. You guys are amazing, and it's always a pleasure. I'm sorry, guys. I just had to step out. I had to stretch, and I had to think. I had to think of what our brother Raffael. Thank you for fucking with my brain like this tonight. Really appreciate it. It's just what I needed. What the implications are if these things are true. I'm not saying that I'm ignorant to everything, but it never really, I think you caught me at a vulnerable time, Raf, in that I never really considered it. I just didn't consider it. What if we were being fooled about that?
So let me just say that it wasn't my intention to throw you off. And I'm honestly, believe it or not, I'm not going on any channels really. I'm collaborating with maybe 2 or 3 channels, and that's all. And here I sometimes come on because, as I said before, I think you're honest. I think you're doing great stuff. I like listening to it whenever I have time. You're doing shows often, and I just thought you'd be interested in that. And because it connects back to all the other things that happened recently. So that's all the reason I brought it up. And also because I recently found it, and I immediately was like, oh, probably there's something there. This is something people should have a look at, especially now that everyone is up in arms about this again and fighting over it, right?
Right. So that's my thing. Like, there's so many people in this community and so many good and strong minds, right? I'm sure we can all have okay. So in Marvel Comics, there was a series called What If, right? And I think they still do what ifs from time to time. I haven't read Marvel Comics in a long time, but as a kid, the What If series would be like, what if the Hulk actually got cured? Or what if Spider-Man was actually, like rich? Or what if Spider-Man, what if, I don't know, what if Wolverine actually decided to, get a regular job and leave the X-Men and become like an insurance salesman? I don't know. But what ifs were abundant in the Marvel realm. So now this is a challenge for us. What if JFK didn't get shot, really get shot? Like the real dude didn't get shot and this was all staged. This is around the same time of things getting staged anyway. We were getting fooled with everything. We were getting fooled into this whole Nazi crap. We were getting fooled because you had Paperclip, right? Where they brought Nazis in, and there's so much more than about Paperclip than we know. You had Paperclip for us, and I think you had something else for the Russians. I don't know if it was staplers. I don't know if it was a desktop. I don't know what it was for the Russians, but they had their version of Paperclip. You understand?
Right.
Like, we were lied to about everything, man. Now we were lied to about everything. Like now it's come to something to where it's like, okay. And really the only reason I'm like thinking about this hard is because we just went through this in the summertime with Donald Trump claiming that he got his ear shot off. He didn't. That was all fake. Like maybe JFK is dead now, right? Maybe he's dead now. Okay. So now, if JFK didn't get his ass shot, Hitler didn't kill himself, for sure. Now it's like, that's definitely something we need to look at. Maybe Hitler didn't kill himself at all, really. Maybe he did go to Argentina, or maybe he's, did something else. I don't know. But now it's like, these are now that they want to bring news like this outside and present it to us. I think these are alternatives that we need to draw attention to and make noise about. And whether they want to ridicule us or not, whatever. As long as they know, they can make up their own fucking minds. Like I'm making up my own mind. But as long as you could present an alternative and why, right? I'd say the big why is, I don't know why, but Trump pretending to get his ear shot off is a big red flag. And it makes every other alternative a good possibility, if that makes any sense. So, that's the thing, man. I can't write off this motherfucker pretending to get his ear shot off. And because I can't write that off, everything else seems like it's possible. Like it's actually possible.
Who controls the media? Who controls the cameras? Who controls what gets released? Who can suppress stories? Who can make things vanish from online websites?
Pulitzer was the synagogue of Satan. They made a prize after a man that's part of the synagogue of Satan. They made a prize for that from that motherfucker. A whole prize, dude. So then, golly. Wow. Now, man, now they really gonna think we're fucking crazy.
Oh, you think it's not already way past that with what you lined out earlier with Blacklight?
Yeah, dude, there's really no going back. I don't care. I'm gonna go there, but there's like there's no going back from this. It's like, no, there really isn't any.
And I would just like to bring up one thing, maybe also help you or give you some time to collect your thoughts. Because you mentioned with the Muslims and what we just saw. So how I'm seeing it, I almost say I was lucky. Many people will maybe not approve of this, but I was not brought up religious in any way, shape, or form. I then, looked into all kinds of spirituality, have my own understanding. The one thing that seems real to me is synchronicity, if you're familiar with that term, things happening, you're being led to things and so on. But anyway, how I see this thing, and this also relates to what you mentioned with the whole, Zionism move and this and that, is basically, I look at it in terms of social systems. And I have not been to Muslim countries, so I cannot properly confirm this myself, but this is from what I've heard. Right. And that there's even regions in the Balkans like this. My question is always, how can people gain more sovereignty for their own lives? Not to be taxed for 80% and not to have 100 million regulations and all of that. And basically what you have, and this is where this whole faith thing comes in, again, whether it's true or not, but to have this belief or understanding or wisdom, everyone can choose their own term for this or what they think is correct, for some type of a transcendent quality. And even if it was not true, like the soul living on, you're getting reincarnated or something else, but this world is not everything. Because if it were everything, like you explained earlier, just grab what you can, because anyhow, it doesn't matter afterwards and you're gone, right? This is not what many different religions believe. And I think this is what is great about many religions. But what do you have? On the one hand side, with, again, just as an example, because that's what I heard about a little bit, with a Sunni type system or any system where you have a true belief in a transcendent quality and also act accordingly. So I would also say any true charitable, truth-seeking Christian, or choose any other religion, it doesn't matter. But what you have here is you have an internal control, let's say, of consciousness, which makes you try to act right, which makes you try to work things out with your family, which makes you want to take care of your elders, which makes you want to take proper care and educate your children, which makes you want to seek the truth and not willingly lie or omit things just for your own benefit or poison other people. And the issue you have here, or the two possibilities, is either it is internalized through, for example, this strong faith that you want to act right, and there you apparently have systems like in some countries, Muslim countries supposedly, they don't need as much police. They don't need so many elder care homes because people just live together in big houses. They take care of their own societies, right? And if something happens, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but you're not gonna, try to hurt somebody because this other family is gonna come after you and or whatever it is, yeah, or they're gonna have a local type of judgment or something else. But if you don't have none of that, then you need the external control system. And that is what we have in the so-called West, or in westernized societies: crazy taxation, crazy regulation, crazy police state, and all of that, because the control is not internalized like through the faith that you would want to act right. So it must be externalized and relegated to the government. And for me, what's interesting is just as a social system, I'm not asking anybody to adopt anything or whatever at all, but I'm basically just interested in, or I think this would be the way to go, that people can conduct their own lives and all of that. But of course, even if you were, let's say you're the king of the world, you can only allow that if then you see that people actually try to do the best by themselves for whatever reason they do, but they try to be honest, they try to be just, truthful, and all of these things, and charitable. But if you don't have that, then understandably you would impose all of these things, and maybe even every few decades you make sure everybody above 60 is gonna get served off the table or something, because anyhow the society themselves, they don't care about them. They shove the people in the old people's homes they don't take care, they don't look at what medications they're getting or if they're being treated right or whatever else. So in terms of, I'm always asking myself, what is the social system and the social structure that is actually sustainable to be self-contained, and that does not require this crazy government police state type overreach, and 90% taxation, and you're not even allowed to change your windows in Austria, for example, without paying a fee. Yeah. So that's the way I look at it.
Wow. Wow. Jesus, man. So Luke 23:43, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you, man. Sharia law. I don't know who's living the Sharia law life. I'm not. Are you living the Sharia law, Raffael?
No, certainly not. And even here, when I use these words, that's why I said, please understand the terms with caution.
Right,
because
right.
so oftentimes also the modernized versions may have little to do with the actual intention of the thing or how it's socially constructed. And also in Islam, so many things that are modern have been completely manufactured and changed and made to be crazy and all of that. So when I'm talking about it, I'm talking really about the baseline understanding of it without the insanity, let's say. Although one thing it also relates to, interestingly, is the, let's call it the relationship morality. Because in the West, basically, it's very hip. You know, you're an adult and you're allowed to go to the club. And, you know, people ask, what is your body count? You know, watch Fresh and Fit or whatever. And you have, you know, all these other things.
Yeah.
And on the other side, people are veiled, or they are, let's say, not encouraged to be promiscuous. And I'm not even saying what is better or not. People have to make up their own minds about this. But you can see different social structures evolving from that. And I think it's up to each and everyone for themselves and to decide, let's say, in which direction they want to veer. Because what is obvious, probably also in many Muslim countries, but I don't know, I haven't been there, which are probably going too hardcore with many rules and all of that. That may very well be. But we can certainly see in the West also, this has led to the absolute insanity of, let's say, ultra pro trans promotion, as you know, right? Going well beyond what would be natural or would be organic, right? And also a complete destruction, I want to say, of morality, which is being promoted. Not saying everyone has fallen for this, but that's obviously not a sustainable system, right?
Yeah, don't come out saying that shit, man. Fucking people out here these days, man. What a goddamn pickle we are in. Somebody's talking about pickled garlic pizza, but that's what we're in, a pickled garlic goddamn jar right now. Wow. Damn. Shit. Dude, you want to know something? All because we allow ourselves to be tricked. All because we allow ourselves to be entertained, like heavily entertained. Well, part of that, like, goddamn. So then, fuck, dude. If he didn't get his head knocked off, God dog, man. And they dressed it up as a dress rehearsal, just a fake ass.
I mean, there's even talks. It's actually similar with Trump again, because they always give the speech, and you know, I like the speech. JFK was a great speaker. Again, I want to compare him to Trump, but he says, you know, we are inherently opposed to secret societies and secret oaths and all of that. But only from the additional information I have, supposedly he was addressing the press club at that point. And he was basically explaining to them, yeah, we don't really like that. But it was actually, from this other alternative understanding, a request to the press to self-censor. So he was saying, we don't like all of that, but basically I'm asking you guys to play along. So, and similar with when Newt Gingrich talked about Trump and said, like, yeah, Trump, no one likes him, he's not part of any club and so on. Well, that's a nice statement, but why was it publicized everywhere? Why did such a popular figure say that? And could it just be that this guy is simply covering for the other guy, you know, and just making it seem like you're not part of any club or putting it out everywhere, or the people understandably are then rooting for Trump, like, yeah, he's not one of them, amazing, he's going to do something, just like with JFK, right? But what if that's just a ruse? Because again, who controls the media? Who controls the algorithm? Who can make sure everybody will see this who's looking at anything at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know, but
Kimo, what's happening, bro? It's good to see you, man.
hey, hi, thank you for the channel. First of all, I wanted to say that I love your channel. I love your honesty. I really like it. And normally I cannot go up because I'm in Berlin right now, so normally it's super late for me. But today, luckily, I got it. So, and the conversation is being super interesting. And I just wanted to say that I don't see that we are like we are not the ones falling because we are already taught like this. We were from the beginning on being on this, so we cannot really see it until someone is coming and saying, hey, look at that. Like the flat earth is the same, you will never think about it if no one is coming to you and say, is the water really staying in a bowl? Like, it's like, is that possible for sure? Or do you really believe that the whole sea is like carved? Like, I mean, it's not, it's the same, with the whole society situation. Sometimes we think that we are the problem because we are falling on the we are lazy and we are just like falling in Instagram and in I don't know, Netflix and all of these, or PlayStation or whatever. And we do, but we are also educated for that. So we also have to take that in account. So we are not fully, we're like more tricked than I would say.
Yeah.
Hello, Rafa. Really nice to hear your speech.
And I appreciate that, Kimo.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Damn, even still getting tricked is like, fuck.
Yeah. So we are not getting tricked. We are like, we are not even getting tricked. We are like already thinking that that's the reality,
Yeah, and then they're just feeding into what we already think, and then it's just a bridge to nowhere. Really, it's just a big bridge to nowhere, absolutely nowhere and nothing. This leads to that's what it is. Ultimately, that's what it is. That's what it is. It leads to nothing. It doesn't lead to anything. It leads to nothing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not. We get nothing. It's like nutritious. Without nutrition, we get nothing from these lies that they give us, and we think we're doing something, but we're just running in place. We're spinning our wheels. We're not getting anything. And
well, I think that we do, because like we are like growing and growing and growing, and at some point they are seeing that, and I think that at some point, therefore, they are making the Trump thing.
Well, maybe us, and I'm saying that with a maybe, because there are those that don't even think and they're buying into the BS. You know what I'm saying? There are those that aren't even doing these conversations, and they're watching basketball, they're watching, tennis, and just drowning their whole shit.
Yeah, but after these 2 years of craziness, I don't want to say the word. I mean, like the whole closing, like the whole, all of this, many people woke up also and said, what the fuck, like they're like, just playing with us, and many people did, and it's out of the flat earth or out of everything, I think that many people is waking up in different ways, like, and I think it's a matter of time at the end of the days, because the truth is the truth. You cannot really hide it for a really long time.
That's right. Oh, jeez. Oh boy, man, that's quite a bit. That's a lot. Jesus. I'm going to Kima, you said you're in Berlin.
Yeah.
You're in Germany. Raf, you are in Austria.
In Vienna, yes.
Okay. I put that book in the private chat.
Oh yeah, so if you still would like it, I looked up online. It's pretty funny because the one variant is like, it exists on the German Amazon, to get it as a bound book is 413 euros, but there is a Kindle version for only $18, which I could totally get for you. I just have to check then how it's possible to send it or something.
Yeah,
but I can figure that out.
You said $400, right? I need the
No,
English.
no, don't worry.
400
The
euro.
Kindle, the Kindle is only 18.
No.
So
There's a reason. There's a reason, because I could get a digital copy all day. I do not want a digital copy. There's a reason why these people do these digital copies and stuff.
But don't you think the bound thing could equally be fudged?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, yeah.
And then they put a high price to make you think it's worth it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
when
really
you
don't
just
know.
told me, I was like, I don't even want it no more. I don't want it. I'm good.
Yeah, sometimes they do it like this. They put it so expensive that, or so not really easy to get, so that people doesn't go there because they're not even us go there. You know.
Right.
But you're right, Vlad, with this, with thinking that it's better to get the physical one. But yeah, I also agree with Rafa that could be equally, touched.
Yeah, and there are books that I get from Amazon that they'll be like, it's an old book, but then I'll get the Amazon version and it's like from 2025 or 2024, and I'm like, what the hell? I wanted the old one, and they're like, oh, this one's cheaper because it's new, and I'm like, that's probably because they put their fingers up in there or they remove some stuff up in there, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
But it happens with the Bible, happens with the Quran, happens with many books, like really important books that are moving millions of people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Happens also with the Buddhism, even when English came to India, like really, like not that time ago, but because one was one of the last, they actually changed that too. Like Jesuits are going everywhere and changing everything in their political, way of seeing it. And after 50 years, no one knows anymore. They are like reading the books and they are like saying, okay,
yes,
that's the thing. And how can we really know? We cannot know. More than 100 years, we cannot know anything.
No, we don't remember anything. We really don't remember anything. We don't remember nothing. We barely remember what happened 20 years ago. You kidding me? A lot of people don't even remember what happened 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and I don't want to be a downer, but, with then, and of course, some people, as you said, also, Kima, and this may even well be why they're playing the Trump card now, because many people notice they want to move and they want to do something, right? But at the same time, so many people just get poisoned more. And I don't like to say it, but it just, it destroys your brain more. So you're going to remember even less, and you're going to even be less able to critically think. You're going to be even more bound to go work. And then I even recently heard, I love to harp on this, in the US, apparently 2/3 of personal bankruptcies are due to medical bankruptcies. Well, I want to know what kind of useless so-called treatments they're supposedly paying for, which make them bankrupt, because they don't learn about, proper living, nutrition, and all of the things you could do for cheap, right? Because no one's breathing. No one's going to teach you about this, right? Because there's no money in it.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's really easy, and it's free for everyone to breathe and not only breathe. There is like many things to do, like you just to stop drinking the shit they give to us, like Coca-Cola, all this sugar shit, all these like produced things that are not nature.
I have to say, this was one of the funny things, and I don't even want to talk about it because, how should I say, I don't want to even get into proximity with the whole TFE. Once I had even the TFE channel comment on one of my small shows, and I was like, please, I didn't reply. I was like, please don't even comment on my channel. But one thing I found funny when they showed the body cam footage of now everyone's favorite Jaron, and he's eating the cup of noodles, right? With some people say the Apollo cup, whatever. But then he's opening the cola, and I'm like, who would even drink that? Who in their right mind would even touch some? I mean, I'm sorry.
Soda.
After so many years, we'll still drink Coca-Cola, man. Yeah.
Like he's in the 80s. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, a soda? Really? You ain't gonna grab no orange juice or at least some water? Water, dude. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, damn, bro, a Coke?
A Coke. It is even difficult to get it there. It's like,
you gonna put that
some water. You have water
in
out
the 80s. Right, because in the 80s, you're like, oh, a soda. Okay, because it's the 80s. But now, knowing what we know, you going to drink a Fanta, dude, really?
Yeah, but I think that, at the end of the days, Dubai was right. He was from the beginning on saying that Jeranism was a shield. And at the beginning, I was like, yeah, come on, you're calling shield everyone, and it's like, at some point now, it's like, it makes totally sense. It makes totally sense because this of coming back to the globe, come on, who's buying this? Really? There is really people buying this?
I mean, you could argue if you really want, you could argue about, I have to revise my model or whatever people want. But then you're going to wholesale suddenly buy NASA and everything. And then I'm like, wow. Your brain would have to explode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because with Sid, it's different. Like he didn't went really like to, but Jeranism was like, it seems like he's paid for that. I mean, like he signed a contract or something. Like, okay, I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna go to the bowl again and I'm gonna promote this.
He's of this world. That's what he knows. He's basically what we've been talking about, just being of the world. And it's easy to, it's when you're comfortable. Porter, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you, man.
What's up,
but when you're comfortable, it's so easy to say, people that are of the world. But when you don't have things, when you don't have much, and you see a lot of people enjoying themselves because they have things, you become materialistic, perhaps. I don't know. Because
I'm just wondering what kind of enjoyment is this? Sorry to
I don't know.
What enjoyment is this?
Right. What do you, and that's the thing is, listen, I have things. I have a lot of things. I've got a lot of things. You can look behind me. I got a bow and arrow that I made right there out of PVC.
Nice
pipe.
one.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, can you show it a little bit?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me show you.
I would love it. I would love to do that. I was like years thinking about it. Like I would like to shoot bows and make my own bow, but it's all in my imagination.
That's impressive. Nice.
But that's really nice, man. That's really, that's
this
that's
one,
something.
I've got things that I made. This one's got this has a 48-pound draw, roughly. This.
Wow.
And this is 550. Yeah, so I made this. I actually made this. But in other words, I've got things, right? And I've got a lot of things. Now I'm in the process of still getting rid of things. But what are the things that I realized? And I'm saying things a lot. I get it. And I sound silly, right? But one of the things that I realized with having all this shit, right? If my house was to blow up right now, I wouldn't give a fuck. Even if my PlayStation went up, I wouldn't fucking care. You ever heard of out of sight, out of mind?
Right.
Yeah.
After you don't see it, does it fucking matter? Out of sight, out of mind.
And actually, it is like this. I lost many things, like really important things, and then I forgot them really easy.
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up. Why did he come on?
What's up, brother? It's good to see you, man.
Out of sight, out of mind. Notice the nuances behind the truth movement and how with great knowledge comes great sorrow, right? And before any conversation was even brought to the forefront about what is the true nature of the horrific side of darkness, before you got into that mindset of understanding that it is prevalent, it is real, where were you at? We were both in a different mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were. I logged on. I'm like, yeah, I know about this topic. And, for the last 5 years, I can honestly say, and this is coming from the heart, from what I think through social engineering and through ideological subversion, as well as the Actleyan dialectic, I think we can all honestly concede to say that if they have not figured out how they can manipulate, how they disseminate what we can do and what we can't do, and why we should know about something we can't do anything about, is a very, very strong kind of viewpoint when you get into truth. Because if you can put something out that can cause a stay-home mom of 4 that's in her Bible to get lost into like adrenochrome or something to do with cloning and even the transgender thing with the movie stars in Hollywood, what that can do is cause that person, that not well-spirited, not well-grounded, just distracted a lot because of the children, and she's trying to, minister to her children in the morning, reading the Word of God, and she gets into all these things, and the cares of the world is what in Corinthians it causes. It's something that you can't control. You have ultimately no control over, that is so horrifically overwhelming that we think it's out of God's reach, and God doesn't have his hands on it, and we start looking at just the darkness. I got to a point, Vlad, where I was just posting every move that the dark side was making. I had not one thing about, look what God's changed in my life. Look at what he's doing here. And you know what I'm saying? I had all these nuances of just darkness, and it seemed like I was glorifying the darkness, and it had such a control over my life, y'all. And that's how powerful Gnosticism and being in the truth movement can be. Okay. That's just how it is. With great knowledge comes great sorrow. And it can affect you instantly. And they know this, y'all. What we cannot control, we need to give it to God. We need to, if it's our calling to go to these city council meetings, to go step out, because these algorithms, we're at the point now, go to your scroll up feed in Facebook and look and see if they're all just made up groups that you comment on that nobody else is connected to. That's probably everybody in the chat is all fake now. I'm just saying that's where we're at, y'all. And unless we're on panels and talking about these topics, we're going to get nowhere from now on. That's where AI is doing. So I think it's a understanding to know about this stuff that is dark. I think, though, that they figured out that they can produce these overwhelming, alluring content and draw us in and pull from our heart strength to where we don't know how to give it to God, and we blame God. And then we walk away from our faith because we think that God has no control. I think that's what some of this truth movement is designed to do, y'all. So you got to be very careful and discern, because God is in control, or we would still be locked down and afraid of the air and wearing face diapers. I'm just letting you know. White hats. Oh, there's the white hats in the queue and all that. That's bullcrap. But I can tell you, there is people in areas that we don't even know about, Vlad, that think like you and I, that were born with a God gene, that are not afraid to, sacrifice this because they got to go and pay, their bill so their trash will get picked up. They're out there, dude. They're leveling the playing field, folks. I'm just letting you know this, okay? They are those that are doing something. I'm letting you know. Because, Vlad, tell me something. If you had a cool 5 million, would you even be on this right now? What would you be doing with it? Get my drift?
I'd find a way to make change.
That's
How
it.
I'd but $5 million, when you have money like that, it make you think a little bit different. How could you make change? But
Right.
you would think, how could you make change in the capacity of $5 million? I don't think change in a capacity of $5 million. I've got, how can I make change in a capacity of 45 cents?
Right, I get it. But you know what I'm saying? People that have the 5 million, that think like we're thinking, that still have held on to their God gene, haven't given it up. Some people just get blessed, though, Vlad, in this realm out of just hard working their ass off. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And there are people in this world, I'm telling you, we would still be locked down, y'all. There's too many of us. Even if they were to deploy some kind of weird thing and let robots out, dude, there are so many people. Hand-to-hand combat, if we had to pick sticks up, they would have problems.
They will have a lot of problems. They are afraid. They are sitting on the pants. I'm telling you.
Yeah, a lot of people couldn't even hit another person. They couldn't. Yeah. Oh, bro, I saw them when I was in the military. I was like, any of y'all ever got into a fight? They were like,
Vlad, they've been locked down and afraid of
I'm one of those, actually. I have to say.
Wow.
One of those. I'm not fighting with anyone, you know.
Yeah, I used to, as a kid, when I was younger, I used to get in a fight. It was like every second or third day, I was always in a fight. I was used to it. I was like, that's life. It was getting my ass whooped by my parents and always getting into a fight in the streets. Like I was like,
where did you grow up?
Brooklyn, in New York.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's not the
So
same.
back then, Brooklyn was like a wild place. Nowadays, you've got all these hipsters running around. It's a soft place where guys walk around with, their little coffee and their tweed jackets, and they talk poetry. They speak poetry. I don't know. It's different.
So just briefly to confirm what Porter was saying. Porter is your name, right? Or your moniker, New Civil Coalition, right?
Oh, yeah, that's my last name.
Right. So from all the interviews I've done with David Ewing Jr., it does very much seem that in the back, even though we don't see it, there is this ideological opposition, and there is, David, whom I'm interviewing, likes to say it's about 50%. I would love to believe that are acting in the way that you're saying, Porter, that actually are trying to, like you say, level the playing field. Most likely they have little to do with the supposed, white hat conspiracies and all of that. But just like you said, just like we exist, obviously, and trying to do what we can as best as we can, there are people with resources that are doing the same. So not all is lost. How should I say? And the most important thing, of course, as I always love to quote Yuri Bezmenov, demoralization, so not to be demoralized. That's, of course, super important. I can just agree with that.
I feel you on that, and I totally agree. I don't lose motivation. I get more motivated, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, damn, we're it's like it's us against so much. And I'm like, wow, we just got a big fight on our hands. We do. How do we? My thing is how? Like, I don't run from these challenges, but I'm always asking myself how. Like, how the hell do I make it better? How the hell do I make it?
It's a good question. A good question.
Yeah.
Do you know what question I've been asking, Vlad, though?
Yeah.
What is real with what's being produced apart from AI? Okay, because if you know anything about Agenda 2030 and SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, if you get into the paperwork to these different ideas, like consumer, it's a consumption reduction, that is a thing. How do they get the consumer to reduce their consumption without hurting them? Through media was one of the major ones I read on. Let's say it's got GMOs in it. Okay, what is GMOs? Everybody said, oh my gosh, this GMO thing is going to harm our DNA. It's going to do this stuff to our DNA. So, Vlad, trust me on this. I'm a digger. I get down and I look into it. I looked into the GMO thing, just the GMO, the whole fallacy behind it. When you look into it, the genome, 98% of the entire plant genome, Vlad, does not even come with instructions. It's called non-coded DNA, right? There's only 1% they can actually see the XY chromosomes. But the thing about that, it folds on observation, okay? And it forms some kind of, I don't even know, they've got an analytical program to decipher how it folds. So what do they really know? What can they do with a plant? All these chemicals are changing the genome, or they're not splicing the seed open and going poking it and going, okay, it's growing larger now, poke that part. They're not doing that. This is guesswork. Then they can't even see it. I think all of it's lies. I think they can see it from a distance, and when they get in, just like an electron, the double slit experiment, the waveform collapses and goes back to acting like a solid, which begs the question, how does an electron even know it's being observed? You get what I'm saying?
I agree with that one. I always say that to the people that is crazy about the quantum mechanics.
Yes.
Like,
well, see, proteins do that.
Just make a picture to a wave. You make a picture of a wave, and then you see a particle. But it doesn't mean that this is a particle. This is a wave.
They want to say it's superpositioned. It's doing this. No, it's the way it's designed. We're not supposed to know. Proteins do the same thing, dude. Our DNA on observation forms a 6-dimensional octahedron, brother. The helix folds within itself and forms another plutonic solid that they don't even claim. It's not even in academia. They don't even teach it in academia.
But you know why it is, no? It's because frequencies. Because the frequencies of like the different forms in this plane of existence are formed by different frequencies. And then we have one kind of frequency. We will have a tree like is long, or we will have a tree that is thick,
that it's wide,
or is wide. Thank you.
Right, right.
And I think that we are formed in one frequency, a specific frequency, you know, and then we had all of this, you know, like this. Well, actually, there's like a general frequency for everything, and then a specific things that happens with all of those possibilities with this frequency.
It's like a base frequency, and then you have the other frequencies that work around.
Exactly, it's exactly like in music. You have a bass. And you could have many chords there, but the bass will change many things of the chords. You know, like the whole thing, the whole chord will be changed.
It's like a song. It's like a song played in the key of C.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, something like this. Yeah, but then you have in C, you have many tones and many, you know, 12 notes, and you have many possibilities. So therefore, we have many forms and many different.
Right. You know, well, there is technology out there now. Y'all check this out. It's terahertz frequency to biofield surveillance. Yes.
Is this what do you mean?
Frequency
Like
to
the
biofield
sound?
Surveillance.
You mean the sound they put?
40 years in the making already. They can do so much with these frequency. It's like a linear distribution of energy, of just like, it's not energy that can hurt you. It's like these waveforms that were already here. They're just putting information in them. That's all they're doing. They're not increasing the bandwidth and doing all this to where the whole misinterpretation on EMF, electromagnetic fields, is so crazy because they want you shielded. They want you to shield, because when you shield the EMF, the electromagnetic field, the resonance increases, the sound, right? The sound, the scalar potential that can go through solid matter, right? But the thing about this is, if they are able to mimic whatever frequency it is, say that is in the inner ear, the cochlea, which is that calcium carbonate structure, they're standing on end. Well, what if that certain scalar that has been shielded, and now the resonance increases, and it's tuned to the same bandwidth as in their ear of substrate in the cochlea, and it causes that to resonate? How high can it cause it to resonate? You get what I'm saying? So that's the type of
technology. Not really. It was like a little bit. A lot of information.
They can take a waveform of information, folks, a panel, and they can dissect through a crowd and isolate a biofield's resonant thumbprint, right? And they can submit infrasound with that. That's the type of technology that we're dealing with, right? That's the technology. This is the silent war thing. Nobody looks into it. Nobody's talking about it. The tinnitus thing, that's not tinnitus. That's actually, you're just super sensitive to outside ambient fields. You're starting to recognize them. You're getting older. Energy becomes more pronounced into your waveform of perception. That's just one of the things of maturing, you know. That's it's not, everybody's ears will vibrate. You will pick up sound. You can pick up energy. If you stop and walk outside during a clear day and you concentrate across like a pasture and you just sit there and you just meditate, you can see gray waves of fields of energy that emanate off of the substrate about 10 foot. And anybody could see it if you just focus. And it's real. Yes. There's studies on it, and everybody can see it. Anybody can see it. It's a different type of perspective of perception. And it has to do with thought, vibration, and it has to do with interpretation. It has to do with just the way you wave, the waveforms of the brain and the way they interpret things. You can scale it down enough with your mind through thought and see it. Just saying. Anyway.
Shit.
So, Vlad, I'm sorry. I didn't try to come on here and jump on. Look, y'all.
No. All in good time and all in good thought too.
I know that's in the week. I do apologize.
That's okay. That's a lot to digest. I'm gonna have to cut up out of here. Part of why I got on super early today. Now, men, of course, before I get off, I want to leave you guys to first of all, I want to say thank you Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been a while since we've been on, but for us coming back on, we came on strong. And before we get off, I want to give you guys the floor. I want to give you guys a last say before I say anything, or last say for you guys. But before I say anything, Kima, thank you for being here. Do you have any parting words?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say how is my name pronounced normally. So for the next time that you know, guys, it's pronounced Chema, because I'm from Spain. Yeah, I'm from Spain, and the CH is pronounced Che, no? Like Che Guevara, no? It's like the same,
yeah.
Chema.
Okay.
Chema. Second of all, sorry for like, but it's like I don't. Yeah. Next thing is like, not go down in all of this, because at the end of the days is what they want for us to come down and say, hey, we cannot do anything. They are too big for us, but actually it's not true. They are 1% and we are 99%. If just the half of us became as we are, they are fucked. They are fucked, guys. And it's just about time. It's just it's a matter of time. I just wanted to say that, and then I say bye-bye, because I also have to go to the bed.
All right, man. I appreciate you, Chima. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the channel, and thank you for the space.
Chima, everybody. Hopefully we get you again here soon.
Sure.
All right. Porter?
Hey, Vlad, I appreciate you letting me speak. Just remember this, y'all. All that chaos we just went through, I think even those that were in charge that didn't sign up for being called pedophiles, that was being called pedophiles, we're getting tired of it. Hopefully we're coming towards something that's going to be a little different, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks, Vlad.
Oh, brother, it's good to see you, man, and welcome back, man. It's good. Again, hopefully your ribs are doing better and you can breathe better and laugh and shit like a normal person.
That's right.
But thanks for coming back, man. It's really good to have you back.
Special shout out to the chat. God bless the Foundry.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Now, Raf, anything for the Foundry, man. Anything for the Foundry and for me. What's going on?
Thank you so much, Vlad, for letting me come on and share this with you. I hope it was interesting and entertaining. And yeah, in the same vein as the other panelists, I'll just say we all have so much responsibility, but it's a great thing because we have the ability to respond. There's so many things in our immediate lives, our own health, our own family, our own environment, our own thoughts, that we have so much control over, and we can reclaim our sovereignty. And this is where it starts. And this is also then where we can end, let's say, any confusion and colonization of the mind, which we've all, to some extent, been embedded in and brought up in. So also, even though sharing these things may then be like, oh my God, this is so huge and so on. But yeah, we can learn about it. We can figure some things out. And most importantly, we can step by step, I believe at least, reclaim sovereignty over our own lives, and then make the change within our own lives. And that is all the change, because that ripples out, and that is the real difference we can make. So yeah, I want to encourage everyone to keep being awesome, and continue on and keep up in high spirits. Thank you, Vlad.
Man, much appreciated, brother. Much appreciated. And you guys, man, anytime you guys come on to into the chat, man, you guys always bring some wild ass shit in here that now I gotta fucking unravel. It's just more fucking shit to pile on them to make life interesting. I appreciate it though, man. And you guys always bring things to stimulate how it is we think. And I think you guys have given me enough to work with for the next 10 years. Jesus Lord. But with that, I appreciate it. And of course, iron sharpens iron. We make ourselves better. These guys, birds of a feather, fly together, flock together, and the like minds tend to work together, and we tend to kind of resonate off of one another, and we tend to make each other better, especially with the problems that we provide and the information that we come forth with. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm forever grateful to you guys. And again, Chima, thank you. Blacklight, thank you, brother. I know you're out there cooking right now. Thank you. Porter, thank you. And Raf, thank you as well. To everybody that came on and joined us onto the panel tonight, thank you so much. That information is Information, good information is dangerous. Bad information is dangerous. Of course, we understand what bad information could do, but good information in the right hands, a very dangerous tool. The right hands. Good information in many hands. Well, we've seen what that looks like, right? So wow, I'm floored. I know I've got a lot of homework to do. You guys see it all over my face that I got a lot of homework to do. But wow. Yeah. Yes. Special shout out to JJ Justin Johnson. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate you giving me the Cash App. Thank you for that, man. And you guys that do that, man, you don't have to, but I really appreciate whatever it is you drop in there, man. I appreciate it. And then again, that's something I don't keep to myself. I like to provide back what it is I get from you guys, so it all comes back to you guys. I always have something, in the works for you guys to provide to you guys. I don't like to keep things to myself. Again, I like whatever I have, I like to give back. So I like to give back to the community. You guys have my email. You guys know I like to send shit. For some of you guys that know, I like to send shit, right? Give me an address, man. I'll send you some shit. I like sending stuff, man. I like sending different stuff, and I like to write. So I like to keep up with the people in the Foundry and those that support the channel just by viewing. That support for the channel is you viewing and you interacting with the Foundry. That is support. It doesn't have to be monetary, you know what I'm saying? But you guys watching and you guys interacting with the Foundry, that is support. I promise you that. You guys liking, that is support, right? So for everything that you guys do for us here on the channel, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything, man. Thank you again. Thank you very much. And Raph, thank you for joining us tonight, man. And thank you for
thanks again
with that information. It was a lot, but well, I gotta suck it up. I gotta suck it up, buttercup, like they say. Oh, well, I was a little long-winded. That was quite the schooling session that we got tonight, family. Shit. Yeah. So I could tell you this much, guys. We did learn a lot today. But I could tell you here, I have got a lot for you guys within the next month. Mark these words. Listen to what I'm saying. Within the next month, I've got quite a few things in line, in store for you guys.